What's going on is Anton from antondaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. A woman could never, ever coach a man. Not a life coach, not anything. A woman could never coach a man in any aspect of his life on what it takes to be a man. And I'm going to tell you why. It's not anything misogynistic. It's not anything problematic, but it's just that she will never know. She will never understand, because what men have to go through and the things that they put themselves through in order to make sure that the family is taken care of, you know, that's not something that she could ever relate to. And I'll give you an example. I know growing up and being raised that my father, which largely gave his same mindset to me in a way, my father always focused on what was best for the family. I often tell this story on the Millionaire Morning Show, and I said that my father made the sacrifice when I was in middle school, 2 years that I was in middle school, 7th and 8th grade, to make sure that he didn't buy a new car. He didn't buy anything. He stayed riding that old Thunderbird and stuff. And I didn't realize it at the time, but he was basically making a sacrifice for his own happiness to ensure that his children had the education that they need. And so, you know, he didn't buy a new car. He didn't buy anything for himself. And he focused on our tuition for those 2 years. And those 2 years completely changed our life. I didn't get the chance to finish his restaurant and finish some of his businesses that I wanted to build for him before he passed away, because he passed away based off of an accident. But the point is that for his entire life, and when I became a much older man, and for the 2 years prior to him passing, we were like inseparable. We were best friends. And what I realized is that his every waking moment, from the time that he woke up to the time that he went to sleep, even though he had grown children, his focus was always on the family, putting the family first. And he could have did a lot of things he could have focused on, because I know that today it's all about self-care and all of this shit with women and men and all of that. And that's a luxury. That's a privilege a lot of times for men in particular, because a lot of men make sure that the family is taken care of. And this is kind of like the sentiment that comes along with a lot of the guys that say, well, what is the point of me getting a family? What is the point of me having children? What's the point of me getting married when I also have the risk of divorce? Because for the entire time, especially if you have kids, you will be basically last. You see it on holidays, you see it on birthdays, you see it on Father's Day. They make a big deal out of the mothers. You see it on this app. You see it on these Instagram and social media posts and stuff like that, where women are always talking about how men aren't situationally aware, and oh my God, he didn't catch my feelings emotionally and all of this stuff. You don't catch him because he dying every day inside. And so the one thing that men was never taught was to ever focus on yourself. Everything was self-sacrifice. Die for the family. You die for your children. Provision and protection. You know, all of this, so on and so forth. And so he got to do two things, especially if he with a woman that ain't worth shit. You know what I'm saying? And she thinks she worth something just because she not cheating. No, that's your reasonable service. That's what you're supposed to do. You ain't supposed to cheat. But, you know, he'll go out and make the sacrifice every day. But he was never taught. We're never taught, mostly. Most of us are never taught to take care of ourselves first. We have never been taught to take care of ourselves first. They got it wrong when they said happy wife, happy life. If the guy don't have nothing, if he's depleted, if he's completely broken, if he's just going through the motions, everybody suffers, because no matter whether she working or not or any of this stuff, the success of the community, the success of your household is always going to be based off of how great the men are. If the men are broken in the community, and this is the reason why we have to spend more time pouring in the men instead of saying, oh, what do women want? How do we get it? Because that's just box. Most of these people and most of y'all is just offering up pussy. And that ain't enough. It never has been enough. Unless you actually solving for the inherent problems that's happening inside of the community, which is largely tied to the health and mental health and all of that of the men, then you don't have anything. You don't. Everything is broken. Everything. If you study history, if the men was not strong in the community, if the men was not taken care of in the community fails. They get raided, they get destroyed, everything. And the women becomes possessions and prizes for whoever it is that destroys that village, even if the men was away at the time. And guys, a lot of times, y'all don't realize that the reason why a lot of guys, health-wise and all of this stuff, they don't start paying attention to that until later on in their life, is because every moment that they're awake and every time that they open up their eyes, the only thing that are on most of their minds is making sure that they go and do what they got to do to make sure that the family is taken care of. They make sacrifice. The vacation is for y'all and the family. The guy works the entire time. It's a job during vacation when he take you to Disney World. It's a job, for him to have to make certain sacrifices and be there for somebody. And I don't expect for women to resonate, with this. I don't think that this is gonna resonate with y'all. I don't think that y'all gonna get it. I think that, for whatever reason, God made y'all incapable of being able to understand exactly what I'm saying when it comes to men making sacrifices, because you'll then come up with the excuse of, well, he could do this, and he could do that, and he could do that. Oh no, I do tell my man I love him. Oh no, I do tell my man I do this. Listen, fam, listen. If you don't know what that guy is going through, and I'm not telling you to try to beg him to tell you everything that's on his mind, but I'm talking about being emotionally connected and ultimately making his life easier, which is why you are described as a helpmeet. I'm telling you that guy is going to suffer, and then a lot of these guys wind up having a grudge against themselves, not even against a woman, but a grudge against themselves, because you build something and you work on something and you with them and you raise these kids for 18 years and all you got is a card, or all you got is some fucking socks or something like that. And thank God that that's not what my life is. I do realize that I've made a lot of sacrifices personally, and the majority of my existence is to ensure that everybody else is taken care of. But I am in a position to where I have personally carved out time and a life, and I've looked at, okay, well, wait a minute, what is it that I need in order to thrive? What makes my life easier also? And that is taking up a small piece of my overall purpose. But everything that we do, we are programmed to make sure that everybody else is around us is protected above ourselves. And y'all don't get that. For whatever reason, you don't get it. You think that we give a fuck about the fact that you complaining and crying on the internet. We don't care. You are largely sitting there whining and complaining about stuff that is not meaningful to us. You know what I'm saying? Like, none of that means anything to us. And so, women can't be a life coach. They can't be, anything for anybody until the man is taken care of. And you are largely going to be the recipient of his greatness. You don't want to get to spend the money. You don't want to get the big house. You don't want to get everything that is good first. You get all of the spoils first, because he made the sacrifice to ensure that you were okay first. And most guys, they don't even ask for a lot. All they ask is for it to be reciprocated. That's it. So, I would love for you guys to be successful in your lives and in your relationships, but you also got to be situationally aware of what's going on. And if that man is suffering, you're not going to get the best version of your life or the best version of him. That's all I'm saying. You got to give. You got to be selfless, especially when you become one, because if the only thing that you care about is what's best for you, I guarantee you're not going to get the best thing for yourself, because the best thing for you is what ultimately benefits him, because you're the beneficiary of his greatness. I'm telling you, you can fight it, you can try to deny it, but I'm telling you it's real. I love you. I appreciate you. Make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Also, Teach Henley, 40% off your first order plus 20% off for life. We had a phenomenal live stream last night about content creation. And then we got another one coming up this weekend with Stock Club. I'm going to holler at y'all later. Peace.